HBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wallow and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here's your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in. When I walked out of the house early this morning, and I could see it was starting to warm up. Sun was abounding. It almost felt spring-like. Am I getting ahead of myself? It seemed like it was crazy, but it almost felt spring-like. We're getting closer to people having power everywhere. I know Greg Gaston got power. He was in a much better mood as he was leaving here. And the rumor is I've got power too. I don't know yet. I'll know as soon as we get off the air when I head home, but there may be power there. Last night, the Grizz sweep the Clippers. They destroyed them. 135-109. That's a lot of points. Ja gets another 39 out of his last 10. We'll talk with Pete Pranica really in about 7 minutes about all of that. And the trade deadline is looming. Tomorrow is when it all will come down or come to an end. There is another chance for the Tigers to get revenge tonight. And Larry Brown got another accolade. J-Mo, I don't know if you saw this. They did a list. They didn't do it by what they would consider order that I could find. But, you know, they're doing all these things for NBA 75. And the NBA put out a list of the top 15 coaches of all time. Larry Brown was on it. This is a great list. There's a few I would question. I'm going to give you the list, and you tell me yay or nay. Okay? You ready?
I'm ready.
Red Auerbach.
Oh, yay.
Larry Brown.
Yay.
Chuck Daly.
Yay.
Yay. I'm with you all the way. I think Chuck Daly was a great coach. Red Holtzman, a little before your time, New York Knicks, helped make the number one market a major entity. He deserves to be in. I don't know if you know him.
Now, I know his name, but I have no idea what he did, so I have to say indifferent.
Phil Jackson.
Oh, yay.
Casey Jones.
Yay.
Here's one that really boggles my mind. And I love this guy. I loved him as a player because he played for my team. I loved him as an announcer. He came out of nowhere and was a Final Four guy. And he's been very successful as a coach, but top 15 all-time, Steve Kerr?
Look at the record. Got to say yay. I mean, I know he has good players.
Winning percentage, I guess, is out of the roof. But, you know, he took over a team that he didn't build. Mark Jackson built it. And he did win championships, but I don't know if I'd put him top 15 all-time. Don Nelson.
Yay.
Greg Popovich.
Yay.
No question. Jack Ramsey.
Yay.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. He's one of my all-time favorites. Pat Riley?
Yay.
Doc Rivers?
Yay. I love Doc Rivers.
Really?
I love Doc Rivers.
What about Doc Rivers do you love?
I just think he's a legitimate – I mean, I just think he's a good coach. He's a little old school, obviously, and he works the officials. But, I mean, I think players will speak to his greatness, and he had success. It's not just like you said about Steve Kerr. Well, he didn't build that place. He's gone into multiple places and built winning programs.
He has.
So,
we'll see what he does at Philly. I don't think I'd put him in there yet, but he's in there. Jerry Sloan.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yay.
Yeah. Eric Spoelstra?
Yay. Oh, I love Spo.
So that would mean, because correct me if I'm wrong, when Miami got a team, weren't the only two coaches they've ever had. Look this up real quick. I think it's Riley and Spoelstra, and those are the only two.
No, well, Pat Riley stepped down once, I know, and Stan Van Gundy was the coach for at least half of a season.
Okay.
But I'll look it up.
Otherwise, the only two coaches they ever had are the top 15 in the world. Amazing. And the last one is Lenny Wilkens, who for a long time was the winningest coach in the NBA. He clearly belongs in there.
Has to be a yay.
Yeah. So you really believe you think everyone did?
Yeah, but you know, then I want to hear 16 through 18, so I can be upset that they were left
right.
out too.
Yeah.
You know,
right? Yeah, absolutely. I get that. I have some sad news today. The original Memphis Americans, and by the way, the new Memphis Americans are playing Saturday and Friday night and Saturday, at the Landers Center. If you haven't seen indoor soccer ever. It's really a great game. I love it. It's like hockey on a soccer field, and their skills are terrific. And the skill level of these players are pretty darn good for the money that they're making. I'll share that. I don't think it's quite as good as the original Americans, but it's still very entertaining and fun to watch. And if you love soccer, I think you'll really love this. So I'm telling you to go out. But the very first coach of the original Memphis Americans back in the 80s, I just saw a video of myself from 1984. Man, I was skinny and young, and hair was thick as could be. It was great. Horst Bertel, the original coach, I guess it was 83 when they first started. Horst Bertel has passed away at the age of 74. And I still have a great friend, Matt O'Sullivan, who played on that team. Tony Carbignani is still around, who was on that team. A couple of the stars, Stan Stamenkovich in particular, and I believe Helmut Dudek, have both passed away. Chris Bartels, who was an assistant coach for Horst Bertel, passed away just a year or so ago. That's just hard for me to believe because he was my age, and now Bertel at 74. So sad news if you were one of those that were one of the original Memphis Americans gallery, and I don't think there's very many left, because when I went to the New Americans, I was actually looking to see if there would be any of those older fans. And, we're talking 40 years ago just about. But they were so loyal, and they even went on the road with you and everything else, and they weren't there, so I'm assuming they're no longer around. But it was... he was a terrific coach. He played for the German national team, and then came over here and first of all, I think he won a couple of European Premier League championships with one of the German teams. Then Horst came here, played for the NASL. After he retired from being a coach, he left the Americans, and I may be making this up, but I think he went to Dallas and got involved in their youth programs and really built them up, and I think made pretty good money. Then became an agent, sending great American players, which he probably developed as young kids, sending them to play European soccer, and did well with that. I do not know the cause of his passing, but Horst Bertel passed away at the age of 74. We're going to talk Grizz here in a second, so let me just set this thing up for some interesting stuff here. Darrell Henderson, who has been out with a knee sprain since mid-December, he is practicing. He could play in the Super Bowl. He could play in the Super Bowl, and Commercial Appeal did a good job with this. How many different Tigers do you think, J-Mo, have played in a Super Bowl?
I have to embarrass myself and say my original answer to this question was 2. And then you politely told me it's a few more than that. So I'm going to say 15.
Well, 15 would be. He will be the 15th. That was amazing to me. Since we're about to talk to Pete Pranica, how many Tigers have played in the NBA Finals? And this is not including the ABA Finals. This is just the NBA Finals. And this was amazing. The first one was Win Wilfong, who played for the St. Louis Hawks in 1958. The second was William Bedford, who played on a really good Detroit team, which Chuck Daly coached. That was in 1990. And then this is the one no one will get, because he really didn't play a lot, but he was a great guy. Earl Barron played for the Miami Heat in 2006 in the NBA Finals. Plenty of these Grizz may be playing in NBA Finals soon, if not this year, certainly in the next 10 years, the way things are going. So here's what the Grizzlies have done. They won 19 of their last 23, but the last 5 they have won by 26 points, 20 points, 12 points, 20 points, 10 points. The TV voice of the Grizzlies is Pete Pranica. What in the world are these guys doing? How are they murdering folks like this? Good morning.
Well, good morning, Wolo. They're one of only 5 teams in the NBA that is top 5 in offensive and defensive efficiency.
Wow.
So they're getting it done at the floor. And, the other teams, we're talking Phoenix, we're talking Milwaukee, we're talking Miami. They're in the rarefied air right now. You have to consider them being definitely one of top 5 team in the entire NBA. So, yeah, I mean, defensively they're buying in. They play with a great spirit. They really like each other. They're very well connected on and off the floor. And right now, we keep thinking, is this sustainable? And I think it is, because they're winning games by these big margins. They're not making lots of threes.
No.
They're making 8, 9 threes a game. But because they're a great rebounding team, best rebounding team probably in franchise history, and they're a low turnover team, they're getting up 100 shots a game. So they value their possession. Defensively, they turn it over, leading in blocks and steals, which is something that I think has been done once by a team in the last 25 years. So, I mean, this really is historic stuff that the Grizzlies are putting up.
Well, just to put an exclamation point on the point you just made, last night they dominated in the point 78-46. And then I remember the Clippers coach Ty Lue was talking pregame about how fast the Grizzlies are. So you've got to be able to get back on defense. Otherwise, they're going to transition you to death. 22-8 fast break points. And when Lou said that yesterday, and then, of course, the Grizzlies went out, and even with the warning, they just blew by the Clippers, it made me wonder. You've seen a lot of these NBA teams over the 20 years you've been doing this thing. Is there a faster team you can remember than this Grizzlies squad led by Morant speed?
Well, I think you could always talk about Mike D'Antoni in 7 seconds or less. That might be the only one that's faster, because just of how quickly they play. I mean, the Grizzlies pace-wise, I think are 10th in the league. So in terms of number of possessions, it's that they max.
We are. You know what, Pete? We are having a little problem with your signal. You've gone in and out a couple of times. Right there. Stay. Don't move. It's perfect right where you are. Okay. It's perfect right where you are. So forget just pace in that particular way or the amount of possessions. I'm just talking team speed. When you think about the big guys like Jackson who can run, you think of Bane and you think of Melton and, of course, Ja and Ty Jones. I'm not sure I've seen a team just move up and down a court faster.
Yeah, I would agree with that. D'Anthony, 25% of his points on the fast break, which is the biggest share in the NBA. He can lead the break. We saw Jaren dribble the ball up the floor. He can handle it. He can get out in transition. So, yeah, I mean, everybody with the exception maybe of Steven Adams is a fast break threat. Even Kyle Anderson.
And since you mentioned Steven Adams, I think he took 4 shots last night. That's it. I mean, you talk about a guy who's embraced his role of being a screen setter, defender, and the way he seals you. He doesn't care about taking a shot.
No, you don't have to run offense for him. If you do, great. Had a season-high 8 assists in Orlando. Great team guy. Even Jaren was lauding him for the veteran knowledge he's been able to impart. And going back to like the second day of training camp, I asked Taylor Jenkins about Steven, and he said, look, we think he's a really good leader. He's a good veteran for our young bigs about some of the tricks in the post to create a little space and get shots around the rim. So he's been really, really good and a great guy and a lot of fun. One of the funniest guys on the team, very dry sense of humor. And it's worked out really, really well. I know people were upset when the trade was made. Jonas Valanciunas was more offensively minded. But the fact that you've got Steven Adams who isn't looking for shots, it opens up a little bit more for the rest of the guys.
Well, and all you have to do is look at Triple J and Bane and their improvement in terms of numbers offensively. That just is the perfect example of why that move was made.
Exactly. You wanted to space the floor a little bit better. Jonas would give you a couple of threes a game, and no slight on Jonas. Loved having him. Very productive, double guy every single night. But I think tactically and strategically, this is as good a fit, if not better fit, with Steven Adams.
It's got to be fun for you. This team is now 20 games over 500. On a pace for, 55 or 56. I mean, they could end up being the best Grizzlies team of all time, including the one that was Grind City that went to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, very well could be. Very well could be. I keep telling people, and they know this and they see this. They're, look, this is a special time. This is a season, and particularly depending how the postseason plays out, this is a season going to remember when Ja was an all-star starter, first upon the scene. I think in a bigger way, he's taking the step that we all that he was able of taking, and he's really fulfilling that potential. And Taylor Jenkins, I go back shortly after the Grizzlies hired him, and David Mintzberg, who had been with the Grizzlies, was now with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I was doing a summer league game in Vegas, and I was doing a summer league game on NBA TV. And David Mintzberg, who I knew just a little bit, just to say hello to, walked over to me after that Bucks game, and he said, "I hope you understand, and you soon will, what a great hire the Grizzlies made with Taylor Jenkins." And we're certainly seeing that because, he's instituted a culture with his basketball team, and Zach Kleiman's done a good job of assembling a roster, and Taylor's done a magnificent job of making sure that every guy is productive, no matter who's available. They've all produced, whether, it's Killian Tilly sometimes coming off the bench, or, Steven Adams with the offensive rebounds, or John Conchar, goes for double figures last night. It really is a special group, and Taylor Jenkins, along ironically with J.B. Bickerstaff, probably the top two contenders for Coach of the Year.
Isn't that something? Those are the two guys, and of course, JB was here, and this guy's done nothing but what? He's got 200 games under his belt. Jenkins does just the other day, and I don't even know what his record is, but it's got to be fantastic. He's a great story. You mentioned Zach Kleiman. I made him my sports person of the year for putting all these pieces together for Taylor Jenkins to manipulate. And we've got the trade deadline tomorrow. It's looming. Couple of teams have already made trades. We know Portland and New Orleans swapped. McCollum's now going to be with Zion if he ever gets healthy. Indy and Sacramento, Buddy Hield and Halliburton's a pretty good player, now going to be with Indy. Sabonis is going to go out west. Do you think the Grizzlies would make any moves, and do you think they should?
I put it on my podcast. It's going to go up later today. Please don't change. I mean, the chemistry is too good right now. Feel offer that you can't refuse. Understanding there are expiring contracts on this roster. Understanding, you've got financial considerations, but from a selfish and personal perspective, I really want to see how far this team can go as it is currently constructed, because I think the ceiling, somebody asked me the ceiling, I think the ceiling is conference finals, NBA finals.
I think we've lost him. And what he was saying right there was that the Western Conference Finals are certainly within their capability. And when I think about that, I would agree. There are a couple of those first-round matchups that make me worried. In particular, I think it sets up now where you'd play the Dallas Mavericks. Pete, I think we've got you back again.
Yep.
That's a tough first-round matchup. That's been a tough matchup. Although, truth be known, I don't believe either team has been at full strength when they've played each other this year.
No, one won't be in the playoffs because Tim Hardaway Jr. broke his foot.
Right.
So, and he's an issue. The big part is if you have a healthy Dillon Brooks to deal with Luka Doncic, now it's a much more manageable physically who can match up with Luka, and that's part of the reason why the Mavericks took.
All right, my friend, we really appreciate you doing this. I know I guess you'll be leaving a little bit later today because the Grizz are going to play in Detroit, which is the worst team in the league, tomorrow. So this thing should continue, and it really is fun. And I know you broke up a bunch here, so I'm not sure. But I think you said, and you're going to have it on your podcast here a little bit later, don't mess with the chemistry. And I certainly hope that's what Zach Kleiman will do. We thank you, Pete Pranica.
Exactly.
That is for sure. Okay, we got you back. How about that? All right. That is Pete Pranica.
Thanks,
have a great, safe travels, my friend. Pete Pranica, voice on television of the Grizz. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. A reminder, the floor model sale is definitely still going on. There are still some floor models that you can secure at a terrific price, including theater seating and massage chairs. And then they're even going with pools and spas, giving you the same discount on the new pools and spas that come in. They're really going all out, and they're having a great year. It's great. People, the staycation stuff, with all of the COVID and everything out there, people staying home. I don't blame them. Not at all. So they make their home even better. And Family Leisure is right at the forefront of all of that. Go see them at I-40 and Whidden Road. And Becky Dinstall says, thank you, everybody. What a day they had with their virtual remote that we had here and the 14% discount. And all of you rallied to stores and got in on the deal. And I don't need to tell you anymore, but it's coming on the 14th. Today is the 9th. We got 5 days. You don't want to get in the doghouse with your significant other. The best way to say I love you, I think, is Dinstall's. Whether it's the strawberries, the cashew crunch, the turtlettes, whatever it may be. All you got to do is find one. And they're everywhere. They've got them downtown, Beerville, Germantown. My neck of the woods, Laurelwood, and where they make the candies, Pleasant View. You'll find one close to you. Go in, tell them we sent you, put a smile on your face because you're going to have one after you taste any of the products at Dinstall's. 5 days to V-Day. Sweetheart of a guy. That would be Brett Norsworthy. He comes your way in just a minute.
You have opinions?
What do you hear? What do you say?
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
I'm Brian Elder. There are a lot of ways to ruin your roof. Probably none worse than ice and snow. Google the term ice dam, and you'll understand that standing snow and ice can destroy your home's interior. Call me, 867-0303. Damaged ceilings or interior? It's time to call Brian Elder Roofing, 867-0303. We're a platinum preferred contractor with Owens Corning, so we've been vetted and trained by the best. You've known the name for years. Call me before you call your insurance company. We won't try to sell you a new roof if you don't need one. We'll measure your roof from outer space. Call me, 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Right now is a great time to take advantage of Choate's winter specials by upgrading your furnace, switching to a Rinnai tankless water heater, or getting $50 off air duct cleaning. By now, you most likely have heard of the benefits of UV light technology for your HVAC system. Purchase any new Carrier furnace right now, and we will install one for you at no additional cost. For those who have not installed a tankless water heater yet, what are you waiting on? Stop wasting utilities heating water you do not use and getting frustrated taking cold showers or baths. Right now, when you purchase a Rinnai tankless water heater, Choates will install one premium toilet for free in your home. And Choates is offering $50 off its air duct cleaning services. Not only does this service get the years of dust out of your ducts, it also helps the indoor air quality you and your family breathe every day. All these specials qualify for 18 months no interest financing with approved credit. So call 347-8086 to schedule your free estimate today. Turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family.
Hey fellas, Bill Russell here at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. You know it's February, and that's the month to show your love. The question is, how are you going to let your most special lady know how much you care about her? It doesn't matter if your favorite girl has been your wife for 47 years, or if you're just getting started with a relationship that you hope has real possibilities. Since 1985, Memphis gentlemen have been coming to Russell Brothers Jewelers to pick out that perfect gift for their sweethearts. Young men and older fellas alike. A ring or a bracelet, earrings or a pendant. Jewelry is always the best choice for her. Much better than candy that will be eaten in 3 days or flowers that will be tossed out within a week. Come see us at Russell Brothers. Let us gift wrap a present that will keep her smiling for a long time, and it's a present that tells her you care enough to give her the very best. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm news correspondent Bob Woodruff. In 2006, a roadside bomb struck the armored vehicle I was riding in while reporting from Iraq. I sustained a life-threatening traumatic brain injury. The military term "got your six" means I have your back, and that day our service members had mine. During my recovery, I learned firsthand the challenges facing our service members who return home with injuries. While serving, their fellow service members always had their six. Now that they're home, it is our turn. We started the Bob Woodruff Foundation to make sure that the camaraderie and support they relied on in the military carries on, and we need you. Please join us as part of the Got Your Six initiative and help us be there for impacted veteran service members and their families. They've had our backs. It's time we have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org. That's gotyoursix.org, using the number 6.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Our title sponsor is Homer. We're proud of that. They've been with us for a long time, through good times and through some bad times, although they are saying things are really picking up. And here's the thing. I love to say they set the standard for the way car business should be done, and they really have. And they make this pledge to you. Chris True, their general manager, says, we'll never charge you more than sticker price. With the shortage of new cars, not every dealer can say that. They're taking advantage of the times a little bit. Not at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Just get on Lamar, Highway 78 in Mississippi, and the very first exit, Craft Road, turn left. You'll see all the gang, and you'll see why I think they set the bar for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Big upset in the SEC and really in the world of college basketball last night. Arkansas, which, by the way, is now, I think, won 19 games. I mean, they're pretty good. In overtime, they end the 19-game win streak of the Auburn Tigers, the number one team, which means Gonzaga will probably go back to number one. So I ask my SEC historian. We know we have Ron Higgins, but we've got one in the house here. That would be Brett Norsworthy, who you listen to every day on, that would be Gabe and Stats, Sports Time. When's the last time the Hogs beat a number one team in the NCAA?
Last time they beat a number one overall was beating North Carolina in 1984 in Pine Bluff on a Sunday morning after playing on a Saturday against SMU, and was lucky to beat SMU, and that was SMU that had John Koncak and some other really good players, and they beat SMU on Saturday, had to turn around and get to Pine Bluff. Dean Smith, when he signed the contract with Eddie Sutton, said, there's no way I go to Fayetteville and play at Barnhill. And Eddie said, well, our arena in Little Rock is, and it wasn't, Barton Coliseum wasn't very nice. He said, but we got a pretty sufficient place we play in Pine Bluff. And Pine Bluff at that time was hosting the King Cotton Classic and attracting a lot of some Razorback games and a lot of big high school games. So they played there on a Sunday morning. Michael Jordan, Sam Perkins, whole crew, and Charles Ballantyne from Newport, Arkansas hit the game winner at the buzzer.
That's one of the great teams of all time, that North Carolina 84 team.
Well, it was, but that wasn't the one that won it.
I know.
That sparked the old joke: who's the only guy on earth that can hold Michael Jordan to 12 points a game? And
Dean
that was
Smith.
Dean Smith.
Yeah, right, exactly. But that is amazing. I mean, you nailed it. Of course, I knew you would. But 1984. Yeah.
But you'll remember Arkansas played number one UNLV at Bud Walton Arena, and remember how controversial it was in this local market because the CBS affiliate, News Channel 3, our friends, and they had a long-standing contract. They carried church, remember?
Right.
And the game was joined in progress, and I think their phones melted that Sunday morning with Razorback fans from Eastern Arkansas calling, going, where's the Razorback game now? Arkansas didn't win that day, and that was a great UNLV team. They were defending champs that ultimately lost to Duke in the national semis in '91.
We have had some rather devout media general managers,
dust-ups, yeah,
over the years.
Had the Olympics.
That one with Channel 3. The biggest one, though, was the
gold medal game.
I don't think it was the gold medal game. It was the Russian game, wasn't it? That was
no. Soviet Union game was on Friday, and the gold medal game was on Sunday morning.
I thought it was so that was Sunday morning. That's why they didn't they didn't have it live. And when I first got to the market, my goodness, people were so upset with the station. I mean, why? What? And then they go, I said, well, okay. And I wasn't going to argue because the guy who at that time was the GM was still the GM. So I didn't say a word. I just kept going.
Our friend Drew Barrett was in the house last night, and he's early in the infancy of covering the Razorbacks with his great new job he has, and he texted me. He said, "Where do you think this win ranks at Bud Walton Arena?" And I texted him back. I said, "Drew, I think it's number one." Now, the Razorbacks did beat number 2 ranked Kentucky on a last-second Scotty Thurman shot on Super Bowl Sunday in 1995. But that was number 2, and Arkansas was defending champions. So that might be the closest thing to it. But that energy last night, record crowd.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it was the biggest crowd they've ever had in the ballpark.
And, Dave, you know who loved that loss last night as much as anybody? Bruce Pearl.
He probably
Bruce
so.
Pearl.
Yeah.
The coach of Auburn, and I'm going to draw it back to the famous 1-versus-2 game here. He got John Calipari and the Tigers that night. But who won the long game that year? Memphis and the Tigers.
Right.
Last night, the Razorbacks got Bruce Pearl. He can get back home today. He can get to practice this afternoon, break down tape, bark at him a little bit, start loving on him a little bit more tomorrow, into Friday, get ready for the game on Saturday. And ultimately, last night will help Bruce Pearl. When he's standing in New Orleans at the Final Four, he will point to Tuesday night, February 8th, as something good that happened to his team. Because they won't play in another hostile, they won't play an NCAA tournament that can match that atmosphere last night. That was good for them.
We have not had an undefeated team since Indiana with Bobby Knight did it in 76. Now that they play, if you're going to go all the way and win the title, and you have all these 3 or 4-for-1 preseason conference tournaments, or not preseason tournaments, holiday tournaments, you're going to play like the Tigers would have, or did, because they were 38-2. You're going to play 40 games. I think with a 40-game schedule, especially if you're in a Power 5 conference. Now, Gonzaga might be the exception to the rule.
But they couldn't do it last year, and we thought they would, and we handed it to them.
And they couldn't do it this year. But look at their non-conference schedule. That's part of the reason why. But my point is, if you're playing 40 games, you're not going undefeated. There's no NBA team that's ever gone undefeated.
No, it's just no way. And last night will ultimately be good for Bruce Pearl and what we look at Walker Kessler's stat line last night. Arkansas finally fouled him out, and that was critical. And then Arkansas get to the free throw line 32 times and make 26 of them. But coaching matters. Eric Musselman has nailed it. Elite 8 last year. And this is just his 3rd year, and the recruiting class. I know we all have a little fatigue on the recruits that are on the way. We do, but Arkansas has really nailed a great class for next year. And Kentucky with a good win last night. Going to Columbia, that's the game of the year when Kentucky comes to town. John Calipari knows that, and he sells Beatles and the Stones everywhere he goes. And it was accurate with Memphis, and it's accurate at Kentucky. And they were able to stave off Frank Martin last night by 10. But the SEC is going to get 7 bids. I don't think they'll get an 8th. Today, Mississippi State is 49th at the net, and that's the eighth best net in the SEC. Florida's 43rd.
Yeah.
So I think only 7 bids to get divvied up.
Well, here's my question for you, because Lenardi agrees with that prediction that there will be 7 teams. Mike DeCourcy, though, with his bracket forecast, has only 6 teams in. So I'm assuming that's Auburn, Kentucky, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama. What is their net today?
Here's the SEC net. Kentucky's 5, Auburn's 9, Tennessee is 11, LSU is 16, Bama's 23, and it's Bama hosting Arkansas Saturday. Arkansas all the way to 31 after, just a really ugly loss back in December in North Little Rock. Florida 43, Mississippi State 49, and it tips off the edge to A&M at 74.
So the 6 would exclude State and Florida, correct? If there's 7,
I assume. I didn't see Mike's this morning, but I look at it quite often, and we know he's just one of the best.
Yeah, what is amazing is the LSU net. They're under 500 in the league. They're 5-6.
Yeah, and now they win last night at A&M, and now they have Mississippi State at home, and then have Georgia early part of next week. So they can get well on both of those with State at home, and I think it's critical for Ben Howland down the stretch. He really solid. I don't know who you would replace him with that's any better, but he just hadn't won much.
What about Tom Crean? Can you believe that Tom Crean
Hard to believe.
could have this bad a basketball team? I hate it.
Dave,
I hate
I
it
still
that Memphis
haven't
lost to that
processed.
team.
I still haven't processed the poor job Tom Crean did at IU. I sure can't process what he's done at Georgia.
No.
Because we know he can coach, and he did at Marquette. Now he had Dwayne Wade, but you got to make that go, and he did. I thought he was the answer in Indiana, and Indiana's been unable to find the answer.
Indiana has gone from one of those teams that when you and I started in talk radio, that was one of the top 4 or 5 jobs in the country. It was you talked about Indiana in the same breath with North Carolina and Kentucky, and Duke wasn't because Krzyzewski was just getting really going there. Duke wasn't in the same league as Indiana, and now Indiana is an afterthought in the Big Ten.
You know what it is, Dave? It's the parallel is Nebraska in football.
Yeah, that's a good parallel. I like that. That is really, really good.
It's hard for us old-timers to see that red N on that white helmet and think that's just another team out there.
Tonight, the Tigers in Tulane. And I'm just going to be blunt about this. The Tigers played really well with you in attendance, finally. Because if they had not played great, I really was.
Wait a second.
I was going to security at FedEx Forum and was considering banning.
I've won by 17 and by 28 my last 2 FedEx Forum appearances. So you can't put all that in December in New Orleans on me.
Oh, that was so bad in New Orleans.
It was.
You
can feel it coming all night.
And that's why it's so critical. Memphis has won 2.
They will blast Tulane tonight.
2 revenge games, and I think they will because they got their players back.
Well, that helps, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think they're starting to like each other. I really do.
61 net this morning for the Tigers, 60 for SMU, and Houston at number 2. And Dave, now I'm not nitpicking here. I agree with Penny Hardaway that getting his team healthy really makes a difference. But when he says that when they're the healthiest, that they're the best team in the league, don't discount what Kelvin Sampson's been able to do again and what he does year over year. And I know Penny Hardaway hadn't, but I do agree with him that when it's a lot better to go to battle with the full armament.
I'm going to make a plug here. Let's see what happens with SMU. They play Houston tonight at home, so that is a game to really keep an eye on. But I'm going to say Ron Hunter got it done at IUPUI. How many guys get it done there? Got it done at Georgia State to get where he is. Why he took this job?
We're still short list on who got it done at both of those jobs.
Right. And I'm still trying to wonder why he didn't parlay that into something better than a place like Tulane. No offense because I think it's a great institution. But if you look at their facilities and their commitment to basketball, you would think he could have gotten a better job than that. He's taken 8 transfers, and since the Tigers first played them their net was 216. Now, I looked yesterday, their net was 107. I don't know what it is today. But from 216 to 107, that is as dramatic an increase as I have ever seen in the net.
Well, Dave, let's do what talk radio does best. Let's hire and fire coaches. You ready?
Sure.
What if Mizzou had an opening? What if Mizzou is at the end with Conzo Martin? Wouldn't Ron Hunter be perfect for there?
He would be. I think Ron Hunter can coach. I frankly
Wouldn't he be
do.
good at South Carolina if they had to move on from Crazy Frank?
Can you understand? That's another guy. I mean, he was just in the Final Four 3 years ago.
They're getting better too, though.
Well, they are. Even in the loss last night to Kentucky, they didn't play bad.
Hey,
but
he was good at
It goes
Kansas
to show how hard it
State.
is.
He was good at
He was
Kansas
good at
State.
Kansas State.
He took South Carolina. Not exactly, you know what, you go back
Their
to
only
Frank
Final
McGuire.
Four ever.
Yeah. I mean, how all of a sudden did this thing just fall apart on him?
I mean, Frank McGuire couldn't go to the Final Four with John Roche and Bobby Crimmins 100 years ago.
Right.
Actually, 50.
It is 50.
And then, you know,
Wow.
and the Tigers in 73 beat a really good South Carolina team with Mike Dunleavy and Kevin Joyce and Alex English.
Crazy stuff. I have no idea what happened to Frank Martin. I'm shocked by Tom Crean. I really am. You never know in this day and age, and maybe it is just a young man's game that can relate. Now
it is.
Now you've
And
got to
winning is
really
hard.
be a portal guy, and you've got to be savvy enough with NIL money. You know,
Yeah,
I have no idea how the deals with Memphis have worked, but you know, you got to figure Duran's going to the NBA draft. I doubt Bates is going to be around next year. I don't know that for a fact. He could be, but
I've gone full Josh Pastner today. I said winning is hard. Before we came on there, I told Jay Morgan, you know what Arkansas is really doing now that they weren't doing a lot in December and early January? They're making shots. That makes it look a lot easier.
Yeah, sure does. It always does. Making shots, and that, you know.
Well, that was some shrewd breakdown we just gave.
That's what's
got to
so,
make shots.
That's what's so impressive about the Grizzlies.
Not just anybody can do this out there, folks.
The Grizzlies,
winning's hard, and you got to make shots.
Grizzlies make shots in the paint. It's
I was at the Grizzlies
it's unbelievable
game last night. And they're taking people's pride from them.
Oh my gosh! Well, we mentioned this a little
They're
earlier.
destroying
you
people.
Go back the last 5 games: 26, 20, 12, 20, and 10. Those are the margins of victory. Your last 5 games. They're killing
that
people.
last night. From the 10 minute with 2 minutes left in the third quarter, to paraphrase the late great Jack Eaton, the only thing in doubt was the margin of the Grizzlies' victory.
Yeah,
there's no way they could have coughed that up.
Well, as Pete Pranica just told us, they are top 5 in offense and defensive efficiency. I mean that
The
tells
shot
you,
blocking, the hands, the steals, the bataways.
They're great. They're fun to watch. And you know what? Memphis, this
How hard one? You ready?
They're going to be good for the next 10 years. Yes, give it to me.
Can the Grizzlies win it all this year? Yes or no?
No.
I'm going to say yes.
Wow.
It hit me for the first time last night sitting there. The Grizzlies can win it all. It's going to be very hard because you got to beat the 2 best teams in the league just to get to the NBA Finals, being Golden State and Phoenix. And that could take a lot of tread off the tires when you got to the finals.
Had they beaten Utah last year in that series? Because remember, they won a play-in series to get to the playoffs. Had they won,
got to win in
had
that
they
series,
won
though.
a round, I would have said maybe. I think you've got to win a round or 2 before you're going to win an NBA title. I don't think that's capable. I don't think they're quite capable yet. But I think they're going to eventually. And I'll tell you this. It'll depend on the first round matchup this year if they get past them. If it's Dallas,
And that'd be tough, real tough.
Yeah.
And Pete was right. Dylan Brooks back chasing Luka around will make a ton of difference.
Yeah, well, that's the one move in the in the deadline that is like a move. You're going to get back a terrific defender who can help you with offense.
And you don't have to give up anything.
Nothing.
The best deal the Grizzlies can make at deadline time is getting a key player well.
No question. As always, my friend, I appreciate it. I'll talk to you
Thank
on
you,
your
Dave,
show
and
next
thank you
Tuesday.
And thank you to Becky Denstall again for a great day with us yesterday. We so appreciate her and the candies and the goodies at the radio station were outstanding.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I'm picking up cards for everybody today, just so you know.
Good deal. Thank you, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you. We'll talk to you next week. We've got to take a break. When we come back, it'll be Jarvo from Action News 5, as he always joins us on these Wednesdays on Wallow and Friends.
You have opinions?
The knowledge that I have matters.
We want to hear them. Call or text us on the AutoZone listener line at 360-8255. That's the AutoZone listener line at 901-360-8255.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
For years, I have talked to you about James Davis, the finest men's store in all of Memphis, the service, the selection, everything that goes with quality. And I've told you recently about the Stant Perfect Fit shirts. Well, now there's the Stant Perfect Fit pants. Absolutely amazing. Only 2 measurements fed into a computer, and all of a sudden, you've got the perfect fit pants. I'm talking everywhere. The leg, the seat, the bottom, all made to fit your body absolutely perfectly. And there's 80 different fabrics to choose from. You will find the right look, the right fit, almost instantaneously. They start at $162, but you will never find a better pair of pants than these at James Davis Men's Store. And the shirts are still there, and guess what? It's the only place in Memphis that you can find Stant. That's the James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
Hey fellas, Bill Russell here at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. You know it's February, and that's the month to show your love. The question is, how are you going to let your most special lady know how much you care about her? It doesn't matter if your favorite girl has been your wife for 47 years, or if you're just getting started with a relationship that you hope has real possibilities. Since 1985, Memphis gentlemen have been coming to Russell Brothers Jewelers to pick out that perfect gift for their sweethearts. Young men and older fellas alike. A ring or a bracelet, earrings or a pendant. Jewelry is always the best choice for her. Much better than candy that will be eaten in 3 days or flowers that will be tossed out within a week. Come see us at Russell Brothers. Let us gift wrap a present that will keep her smiling for a long time, and it's a present that tells her you care enough to give her the very best. Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Looking for a good deal on ammo? Check out Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville. Right now, 223, 9mm, and 12-gauge buckshot are all on sale. 400 rounds of 223 in sealed Spam cans for $199. 50-round boxes of 9mm full metal jacket for $19.99 a box. 12-gauge buckshot, 15 rounds per box, 8 boxes per case, on sale for $125 per case. Tactical Guns and Gear in Collierville. On Instagram at TGG_Tennessee and Facebook at Tactical Guns and Gear. Don't forget to tell them Eli sent you.
Is your company going through a merger or downsizing and you feel your job is in jeopardy? Don't delay. Call ProResume, the #1 source for professional resumes in the Mid-South. Go to ProResume.biz or call 685-1950, the fastest way to a new job.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again, it's the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Great Scott, it's time for the face of Memphis sports. Jarvis Greer from Action News 5 joins us as he always does in this time slot. So I noticed this. I haven't mentioned it yet. Michaela Schifrin, the great American skier, she fell again last night. She's trying to become the greatest skier, U.S. skier ever. Most medals in Olympics. She's still got 3 more events. But there was a good story. The snowboarding star, Lindsay Jacobellis, who is in her 5th Winter Games, won.
Yeah, she's 36.
A gold medal,
It's something because at the last Olympics, remember, she was out leading the pack for the chance to win gold on that. And she went over that last hill, slipped, and ended up getting the silver, I think. She had a good lead on it.
She showboated. She thought she had it won, and she blew it. That's what happened. But that's a great story. And Shaun White and Chloe Kim, they've made their finals now in the half pipe with that. My question for you is: are people watching? I don't sense this buzz. In fact, I sense a lot of anti-Chinese stuff here with people. I'm wondering if the Winter Olympic ratings are any good.
Well, the toughest thing about these Winter Olympics is because they're coming right on the heel of the Summer Olympics. Because summer got postponed because of COVID and everything, and then this one comes up right behind it, and nobody's really thinking about it that much. But if you start looking at them a little bit, then you're going to be watching. because it's like figure skating is coming up now, but like the X Games Xification of the Olympics. I was watching some of that half pipe stuff and some of that. That is like really, really cool. And, if you turn it on or if it happens to be on and it catches the eye, you're going to watch. It is the Olympics after all. And now I think the numbers will be down some because it is like a kind of like not really overkill, but, we just had an Olympics.
Well, and the winter
games
games never match the summer games.
No, they don't match the summer games. Because most people don't do what these people do.
Well,
a lot of
and also
when they
we don't excel as well. I mean, you have a few guys that we know from the Winter Olympics. You go way back, you can talk about Billy Kidd, for instance. People remember him forever. He still skis with people at 2 o'clock at Steamboat Springs, by the way. He's got to be like 85 now. But we don't usually do well. Lindsey Vonn did well. She became a star. Schifrin is the next one like that. So we kind of know her.
Well, it's really a regional because if you're Colorado or Vermont or somewhere like that where there's a lot of snow, now that's what they do. So, but for the bulk of the country, no, it's not something that people don't go shushing down the slopes. It's like that. No. Except for you, Dave. You were an all-pro skier in your day.
Well, I was a ski bum in Steamboat. That is true. All right, so we're going to settle on. We're still going to watch it, but I don't know how many people are going to watch it. We hope the U.S. hockey team, the women's hockey team, is really good. We hope the men's team, not the NHLers that are not playing in this thing. We hope it does well for NBC. That is for certain. Tonight,
well, it always picks up with figure skating too.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of people like figure skating.
You got it. All right. Tigers tonight against Tulane, revenge game 3. They've knocked off ECU and UCF, so they're 2-0 in these things. What's going to happen tonight?
Well, I think that Memphis overwhelms them. They had 8 players the first time they played, and they were missing their top 3 scorers in the first time they played down there. And I got to give Ron Hunter credit. He is a really good coach, and he's actually got some talent to work with this year. But I think Memphis should, and I think they will overwhelm Tulane because Tulane's not the greatest rebounding team in the world, and the Tigers rebound the ball very, very well. They got some shooting back now that Nolly's back, and DeAndre's back playing, so to kind of be that settling influence that they need. And I just think that what they only lost by a point the last time they played down there with all those guys.
Well, and they had 2 looks in the last second to win the game, and they couldn't get it done. Alo missed the drive. And he tried a wacky shot and may have gotten fouled, but he's not going to get that call. Had he gone to the other side of the rim and not been wild, he might have gotten a call, but he didn't. And then Lester Quinones had a look, but he had to rush it though.
Yeah, and that's and like I said, Tulane's better this year, and they started out the year 1-0, and Memphis started out 0-1 in the conference. But, and now I think Tulane is like right in front of Memphis. If Memphis wins this, they'll leapfrog Tulane to get in the 4th.
They will be third. If they win tonight, they will be in 3rd place.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's where you want to be.
And they're behind only Houston and SMU, and they play those 2 teams in the next 3 games. They play at Houston.
It's a huge.
I mean, this string where you play tonight against Tulane, revenge. Houston, I call that your measurement game. At Cincinnati, try to sweep them. At SMU, there's your last revenge game.
I think that they've got the players to do it now, and the chemistry issues seem to have been solved that were plagued them at the beginning of the year when they were at full strength, and then they went through the COVID time, and then all the injuries and all that stuff. It was like Alabama, Cincinnati, that 2-game stretch there where they were healthy. And they had figured it out. It all looked like, okay, now they're starting to figure this thing out as far as the chemistry-wise. They had the talent. The chemistry was just not working. And you were kind of wondering, well, when Nolly and all those guys came back, would the chemistry come back with them? And if the UCF game is any indication of the last 2 games, looks like it's headed in the right direction.
I think so.
So if they keep playing like that, I think they'll be fine. Let me ask you this question, Dave.
Sure.
And I know you put that already out there. Do you think Imani Bates will play again in Tiger Blue and Gray?
I would say that he would.
I would too.
I
don't think he would come back here and not get back on the court.
I think they had their chance when his dad Elgin took him to Ypsilanti or wherever the heck in Michigan they went to go see the doctor. I think they could have said we're not coming back right then and there. And I sort of thought that really might be in the cards. Since he's come back, I think he will be back in the uniform on the bench. How much he's going to play, that is going to be interesting to see. What kind of rotations Penny will use once he does have everybody back. And really and truly, you still do not have your full team since they were 5-0 and beat Virginia Tech on November 24th at the Barclays Center. Since then, there has been at least one player missing for every game. It's incredible.
Yeah, one rotation player. Somebody that's key to the rotation.
Well, Chandler Lawson for a couple of games, and I don't know how much of a but he had played 4 games, so maybe he would have.
In the meantime, he had played 4. Yeah, since he's been back, he's looked pretty good, right?
Right. So, yeah. He's not. His mom and dad told me he's not 100% yet, but he's trying, and I give him a lot of credit for that. Jarvo, we are out of time. I'll see you tonight at FedEx Forum.
All right, man. Have a good call. Let's see if we can get the green wave.
There we go. We're going to try. That is for sure. And that is Jarvis Greer. You watch him every night on Action News 5. This final portion of the show brought to you by Old Dominick, hometown partner of the Tigers. They're going to say, go there, have fun, share a sip responsibly. And if you're sharing a sip, you might as well try the Old Dominick products because you will love them. They got a bourbon coming out that is going to be amazing. You can check out their portfolio of spirits just by going to their bar at 305 South Front Street. Or, honestly, you can go find their products in most spirit shops around town, including my favorite spirit shop that's on the corner of Poplar and St. Nick. Old Dominick, they are the only ones with a tour, by the way. This distillery is all Memphis. It was started way long ago by Domenico Canali. And you'll learn about the craft on this 45-minute sensory journey where they'll teach you how they distill from grain to glass, and then you get to try some of that portfolio. Check it out. Old Dominick. We thank Pete. We thank Stats. We thank Jarvo. We'll see you again tomorrow.